So we often get asked a lot at August why the journey started, about your career. Lots of people know and understand August Recognition and know of us, but they don't know about you and your journey as an entrepreneur. So I think that's where we should start. So I think you need to take everyone back to how your journey started and what that looked like.
Okay. So my journey actually into entrepreneurship started accidentally, as it does for most entrepreneurs, actually. And it wasn't something that I'd ever imagined. In fact, I actually wanted to be an English teacher when I was young. And then I was at school and I was a teenager. And due to a family breakdown at the time, suddenly my life changed unrecognisably. And I went from thinking that I might go to university to be able to become an English teacher to all those opportunities being taken away. And I ended up on my 16th birthday moving into a home for young girls who for whatever reason, no fault of their own, couldn't live with their family anymore, or their family wasn't around. And I actually say, I mean, it was one of the scariest things that's ever happened, but actually one of the best things as well. And I went on a journey from there of real discovery of myself, I suppose, as we all did as we were learning to navigate the world. I continued going to school and had to complete my GCSEs at the time. But I thought, well, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do next. I need to earn some money. How am I going to do this? So I actually started an apprenticeship at a dental surgery and I became a dental nurse, which is very different to what I do today. But I always say that skill stacking is something that's really important. So no matter what people have done in their lives, there's always something that you can take from it that actually really applies in the next thing that you do, or really makes you unique for the next thing that you do. And at the time, I was working as a dental nurse. I used to go and study in the evenings to get my qualifications. And the landlord of the house that we were living in with the girls, one day he came to the house and he said, right, girls, get in the car. We're going out. And we were like, oh, where are we going? This is exciting. He was really nice. So, it was something that he did do things like this sometimes. And he actually took us to a lovely hotel with a beautiful garden. And there was all these peacocks in the garden and it was amazing. We were sitting having cups of tea and feeling very posh at 16 years old. And he asked us all what it was that we wanted to do next. So we were all young, we were all studying, we all had either an idea or no idea. And I was one of the ones who had no idea. And he said to me, Donna, you can achieve anything that you want to if you focus and you believe in yourself and you don't let the boys distract you. You can achieve anything that you want to. And I think that moment for me was the first time I'd ever really heard that. And suddenly I opened my eyes to more of what could have been possible. So I carried on working as a dental nurse. But during that time, it was an interesting period because in the dental world, things changed and regulations changed. And it meant that dentists no longer were allowed to work on their own. They had to have a nurse as a chaperone in the practice or in the surgery with them. And what that meant was that for dental surgeries that only had one or two nurses, as soon as someone was off sick or on holiday or maternity leave, it was really hard for the dentist to be able to operate without their nurse. And they'd be desperately trying to find a nurse to work with them or dragging their receptionist in to the surgery who didn't know what they were doing. And I could really see this gap in the market. And I got bored quite quickly as well of being a dental nurse. It wasn't what I'd set out to be. And as much as I could make it fun, it wasn't where I wanted to be always. And I was more interested in how the practices ran and the business that was going on around them. So I actually started out my own business. I left the practice that I was working in and I started my own little dental nurses agency called DNA, which actually in the dental world, it means you write it on a patient's notes when they did not arrive. So what that meant to me was, has your nurse not arrived? Are they on holiday? Are they off sick? And I took out one of those little red roadmap books, which I'm sure no one uses now, but we've all got Google Maps. We didn't have Google back then. We didn't have mobile phones or anything like that. I had my little old car that was my first car and my little red book. And I literally worked out through the yellow pages where all the dental practices were in Sussex in the UK. And I circled them on the map and I would drive to them And I'd just walk in and say, hello, I'm Donna. I can solve all your dental nurse shortage problems. And I would tell them how much my hourly rate was, etc. So literally within about a month, I think I was booked up for a year. It was incredible. And really what that taught me was it was about understanding the gap. So I could see what was missing and what they needed. And then I was able to grow that and give work to my friends who I trusted as nurses and develop a bit of an agency. So that's kind of where I started. And I think...
How old were you?
I was 19.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Okay.
when I started that. And then after that, I left to have my children, got married, had children, had my 2 daughters, and took a little bit of a break from it. But I was still bored. I get bored quite quickly. And so I started studying all sorts of different things. And then I still had this hankering that I still wanted to study English. It was something I was really passionate about. I'd always wanted to do. So I actually then went back to university. So when my children were 4 and 6, now I look back, I'm not quite sure how I did that. But when they were 4 and 6, I first of all did an access course because I hadn't been able to continue and do my A-levels. And then I went to Sussex University and I studied English language and absolutely loved it. It was fabulous. But that, I guess, is where my real love for English then came alive. And people often ask me if I write fiction, and I'm not a creative writer like that. That's not how I am. I'm very analytical and I love being a linguist. So I like looking at the words and the meanings behind words. And how you say things and communication in all its glory. And so that's what I studied. When I came out of there, I started doing some business writing, reporting and that kind of thing. And I really enjoyed that. And then I sort of fell into the world of awards, working for somebody else, writing award entries. And I did that for a few years. And what I really noticed at that point was the difference that it was making to the entrepreneurs that we were working with, who would come into the process thinking, oh, I just don't really think I'm worthy of awards, but so-and-so said to me that we should get some awards, so let's have a go. And then when you went on that journey with them and we crafted up all their entries and we really communicated their story in a way that others could understand and stood out, which was something that they really struggled to do themselves, when they then went on to win, the difference in their confidence was palpable. And that's what really then made my heart sing and made me think, actually, this is really special. So I can take the skills that I have and the knowledge and the passion that I have for language and communication and pair that with the business knowledge that I had from already previously running a business. And as a lot of mums at the time, because this was pre-pandemic, found it was very, very difficult to work for someone else and look after your children as well. There wasn't really as much working from home. There wasn't that much flexibility. What's normal now was not normal then. So really, you know, for me to still be as hands-on as a mum as I wanted to be as well, my children were still young and at school, the best way for me to do that was with my own business. So I moved on from where I was, and that's when I started August Recognition. And so that's why it probably makes more sense now why the word August is our brand name, is because it's august and it means respected and admired. So it's more about how we want people to feel and where we want to get them when we're working with them. So yeah, that's how it all began.